Hello and welcome to the Not Your Average Joe podcast. This is, in my opinion, where I get to share with you a theory. Today we're going to be sharing a theory.
The paradox of choice states that it's not that more options gives you more happiness. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. Having more choices makes you unhappier. That's because you end up regretting the decision you make, even if it was the best one.
Now, this is a theory that I've had toying around in my head for the last 2 years, and I feel like it's very relevant, most especially if you're a single person, but I think the effects actually can also affect people who are in committed relationships. And the theory is that we have way too much choice, and that's actually making it very, very hard for us to settle. So the Western culture has made it seem like, hey, freedom is choice. If you have freedom of choice, then you're absolutely happy. And so we'd think that, hey, if you have more choices to pick from, then that's even better. But sadly, that isn't true, because there's a little bit of a paradox, because too much choice actually can leave you feeling a little disappointed and dissatisfied. What do I mean? So imagine you went to a restaurant and they offered you 2 types of drinks. It will be much easier for you to make the decision A or B. But if you went to an ice cream place and you know how they have like so many flavors, so if you're not really sure what particular flavor you want and you want to try something new, it's going to be a little harder for you to make a choice. It takes that much longer. So apply this to our lives and when we're trying to pick a partner. Well, look at the choice we have. We have so much choice, it is ridiculous. Like seriously, we got options that our parents didn't even have. What do I mean by this? Well, our parents didn't have social media. And right now, we are more connected than we have ever been as humanity. The internet has made the world so much smaller, which is great, but it's also kind of bad. And that's where I have to bring in the apps like Facebook, Twitter, Tinder, anywhere as long as you can communicate with another human being who can approach you and say, I'm attracted to you. Yes, that's where all the choices are. So compare the amount of choice that you have to the one that your parents had. Your parents, when it came to picking a partner, well, they had a number of people to pick from. They had people they knew in their past, in their community, people who they met at work, and that was about it. You know, those are kind of pretty small circles. And then think about the amount of choice that you have, because you have all the options that your parents had, including the ones that the internet gives you. All those Facebook friends, all those friends of friends, or friends of friends, or all those people who you tweet at, or all those people who you swipe right on. All those are choices. So now more than ever, we have so much choice, it is mind-boggling. But like I said, sometimes too much choice is not good. Having so many options actually makes it that much harder for you to pick one. And when you even decide to make that choice, you're kind of hedging your bets a little bit. You're like, hey, just in case it goes wrong, I know a place where I can get so many. Ooh, and that's not very healthy, because when you make that choice, you're not going to be fully in it, are you? Now, I have to say this has been a personal observation of mine as I have been using a dating app. So I have been on Tinder for a bit, I won't say how long, but it was just a fun way to get to know people. And I have chatted with people from around the world. Like, I should be married to like a millionaire by now, seriously. But that's the thing, I never settle. I'll always swipe and keep on interacting with these people and not pick one. So I guess maybe a more productive way these apps should be used is that, hey, if you pick a person and you say, oh, you know what, this is a person I want to relate with on a relationship kind of level, the best thing you can do for yourself is to remove those apps, remove the options. Because the thing is that we keep on chatting to the other options. We still do. And that is hedging our bets. So you're not fully in it. You're just kind of in it, but you're kind of like, just in case it goes bad, I have an exit plan. And that's not great. That's really not making a choice, is it? So in a way, we are spoiled for choice, and then that leads to some kind of decision paralysis where we are unable to pick and settle on one. Now, again, I am not speaking for everybody, but I do believe that there is a section of people who think this way, because I cannot be alone. I really cannot. And also, I did say that there's an angle if you're married. So if you're married and you're still on these apps, oh, come on now. We know what's going on those apps. We know the people who are DMing you. We know it. And I understand it can be harmless. It can be a harmless flirt. But the thing is, as your relationships goes through its ups and its downs, if it coincides with a person who just says the right thing on social media, and your relationship is on its low, what, like, seriously, how do you think these things start, these affairs? Because I think we can all understand that relationships are not always a bed of roses. They're going to be ups and downs, despite what we all wish. But if you are interacting with temptation during those periods, how do you think you're going to fare? How strong do you think that your resilience is? Which actually even makes the equation worse, because then we have married people acting like single people. I'm not even hating on you. I'm just saying that you kind of make the mathematics that much more difficult. You're kind of making things really difficult for all of us here. And that's on the choice decision paralysis. But I have to say that there's another factor that we as human beings innately have that actually encourages this. And what is that? Well, we don't like to be vulnerable. And this is when in a relationship you are meant to be opening up to a person so they get to know you, they get to know those different facets of your personality. And to do that, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be you have to put your guard down. And no one likes to do that. No one. I don't think anyone has a ball doing that. But what I would say is that what it does when we lift those guards up is that it stops us from connecting with people the way that we should. I'll give you an example.
What I want to do is text you and say, I miss you and I like having you around. What my petty ass is gonna do is I'm gonna sit here and we're gonna play who can go longer without talking to the other person, and eventually something's gonna fucking happen.
And so we don't want to be seen as desperate, as needy, or as even someone who wants love. We just look like, we're just chilling here, and if love comes, that's cool. But the thing is that we're all kind of wanting someone to come in and, help us out. But that isn't going to happen if you're not vulnerable. And so if you're not vulnerable and you keep on looking at the other options, guess what? You're going to be interacting with so many people on such a shallow level. Yes, I am calling it shallow because the real depth is in the vulnerability. That's when you get to really know someone. But this is a theory. Again, I am not a psychiatrist. It's just a theory that I have come up with because I have watched things, I have read things, and I want to put it out there for you to digest and tell me. What do you think?